All right. Welcome back. And welcome back to what I hope will be one of the highlights of this Aquatics convention. We call it Beyond the Pool Deck, but it's also about the pool deck. We have a session where we will have insights, ideas, new thinkings, and we will have it from the athletes, the ones who are actually in the pool or on the way down to the pool, and we have a fantastic selection of athletes, and I'm actually quite pleased. I have been given the honor to moderate this session. So let me introduce the panelist. The first one panelist, she is the most decorated female water polo player ever, 4-time Olympic medalist, world champion. She has been named Female Water Polo Player of the Decade, not the year, the decade, the 2000s. She co-founded the non-profit organization Project 2020. Let's give a big hand to Brenda Villa. And second panelist is an Iron Lady, 3-time Hungarian Olympic champion, 2-time Olympic finalist, 3-time world champion, and 9-time European champion. Over the last 3 years, she has won and defended the Fina Swimming World Cup overall title. Please welcome Katinka, Hosszu. And now a legend of open water swimming, one of the most impressive resumes in the sport of aquatics. He has won world championships and has represented Bulgaria in 4 Olympics. Please welcome Petar Stoychev. And I hinted the new He-Man of aquatics, 12 world titles, 2 Guinness World Records, a Colombian cliff diver, and now also a world champion in Barcelona. Please welcome Duque. And last but definitely not least, a world champion in 2002 10K, again in 2004 in 10K, 25K, and in 27 in 25K again. She's also a European champion in many distances. She has won many World Cup series. Please welcome Britta Kamrau.
Well, what a group. I don't know how to get started, but there's just a lot of champions up here. But we would like to make this as much interactive as possible from you guys' side. So we have a few, I have a few questions I would like to ask our panelists, but then we will open up the floor to you, and you can ask whatever questions you would like to ask about how they see their various disciplines moving forward over the coming years. Maybe first question, let me start with you, Linda, here. Water polo, your discipline, and the same for the other guys. If something should be changed in the sport, is this a change about how you actually play the sport, the rules and so on in the pool? Or is it more a change about how the sport is presented and how it's packed and wrapped to sell it to more commercial interest and more spectators? So is it more changing the sport in itself, or is it the surroundings of the sport?
I think water polo is a sport of gray area, where I think some of these other disciplines are very black and white. So I would say we may need to change a little bit of the rules, and we also need to change a little bit about the way the sport is marketed. I think we need more spectators. I think we need more kids playing water polo, and I think by changing the rules and making the game a little more understandable to people that are not familiar with water polo will help with the interest and spectator engagement. And I also think that as a sport, we need to do a better job marketing our top athletes. We need to make sure that everyone knows who they are. We need to make sure that we can show our sport on TV in a better way to attract a bigger audience.
Yeah, thanks. Katinka, maybe it's hard to change that much the rules of swimming, but if you would change something around swimming, would it then be the rules or how you actually perform, or would it be around the pool?
I would definitely choose to change around the pool and how swimming is presented and marketed. Swimming is one of the most watched sports during the Olympics, but I feel like between the 4 years, we are not watching swimming as often. So I definitely would think we need more competitions to see these swimmers competing against each other. Fina actually is doing a great job with having more competitions. For example, the World Cup series, which is happening each year and about 8 stops a year. So we can compete in front of different countries, different fans, and hopefully we can inspire more kids to become swimmers as well. Although I feel like we also need the athletes to participate in these events. For example, I compete at the World Cup for the past 3 years, and I still don't see all the swimmers coming to the World Cup, which I think would be really important for swimming. If there is a bigger competition, more fans will be coming out, and all these things are actually a synergistic effect. If more fans are there, there will be more sponsors wanting to sponsor the event, and therefore there will be more money in the sport. Therefore, athletes could be getting paid more, which would be really important for marketing as well, because not only the top swimmers would be able to make a career out of swimming, there will be a lot more swimmers that could be staying in the sport for a longer time. Therefore, we could, get to know the swimmers better. Each swimmers could have their own brand and personalities, and we could have our each fan base. So therefore, there would be a bigger fan base, and we can, promote swimming and swimming as a brand as well.
Yep. Thanks. Peter, you have experience both from swimming and open water swim. Where would you focus any changes on the way the sports are performed, or on how they are presented?
Well, my point of view is that we need to be more focused on the way how the sport is presented, and our discipline is just only 2 editions at the Olympic program, but I'm thinking we did quite a successful start, and I'm sure that if we working together and trying to find a way how to bring the sport closer to the audience, to the spectators, we need to show them the difficulties of our discipline. You all know that we race in the nature, in the natural environment, and of course this is quite different than the swimming pool. And in the present days, the spectators, the audience, they want to have very fast and very easy information. They don't want to read much, so we need to find a way to give them always short video about what's going on in our discipline, how the results is going on, and we need to make everything possible to people to understand about our sport. And we have a great opportunity to promote our discipline as a bio sport, because as I mentioned, we race in the nature. And I believe that the future of the open water swimming, it will be successful with just a few changes we can do.
Yeah, thank you. Orlando, high diving is one of the new things in aquatics, and it is by definition spectacular. Still, I'm sure you have some views on something that already on this early stage could be changed or improved.
Yeah, we're the new members of the family, let's say. We work hard to develop a good set of rules. I think that's the reason why Fina decided to include us in the aquatics family. So there's, let's say, not too many changes that need to be done at this point. You know, we're just having a good start right now. What I would like to change is maybe the perception people have of the sport. We all come from a background of diving, and high diving is just let's say a next step or an evolution of diving. Maybe the perception is that you know, it's a group of crazy guys jumping from the highest place they can find, and that you know, they're surviving just by luck. No, it is a high level sport, and you know, we're working hard to maintain that safety margin to make sure that none of those bad things happen. So of course, we can always improve. You know, we can always work on the rules. We need to make sure that you know, the judging is a little bit more even. I think there's not that many judges prepared for judging high diving as there are for diving. So there are places to improve, but the main thing will be that the perception of the people to know that you know, we're doing it at highest level possible. We're not taking things into chance. There is like a very clear record of safety, and it is actually our most important thing.
Thank you. And Britta, you have been very successful in your sport and won a lot of championships. But then when you're thinking back, how do you think the sport could be made even more appealing? What would be the focus for any change?
Well, Peter has said it already. I think the most important thing in our sport is to make it more attractive to the spectators. You know, the problem of open water swimming always is that there are some swimming caps swimming outside in the waves in the ocean. Nobody can see anything, just, you know, some arms and waves and swimming caps. So we have to bring the races closer to the spectators, which means we have to choose courses, you know, which are close to the shore, or like it's been in the past years, more in rowing basins, or, you know, just take care that the spectators have during the whole race the opportunity to follow the swimmers with a big screen on the shore, always passing by on some points where everybody can see it, especially the start and finish line, have it so close that everybody can interact. And as soon as we can succeed in this, I know it makes the whole sport more attractive. You know, always the whole time in my career, everybody was admiring the distances we swim, and they come and say, it's so great what you do, but we don't see anything of you. So that's like the main spot we have to change.
Thank you. Interesting. I would like to ask you, and then you guys can start to prepare your questions. Yesterday we heard from high-level broadcasters and from sponsors and new media people that, you know, you have to change this, you have to change that in order to remain and become even more attractive to commercial partners, to television, to a wider audience. All fair enough. But what if I would ask you, what would you not change in your sport? What would you never change? Something that is so fundamental to the way you practice your sport that you say, no, this, we can do a lot of things, but this I will not change. Brenda?
That's a great question. I think that I would never change the fast pace that water polo is. We are a sport that is played under an hour, you're moving the whole time, and it's action-packed, and I think that's one of the greatest things that spectators say about water polo when they watch it for the first time. Oh my God, you guys are moving the whole time, you're never touching the bottom, and you're always moving with somebody on you. So I don't think adding any time to the game or really changing the possession of it, I think we need to keep that, because I think it goes back to saying, and as I've heard often, that water polo is one of the toughest sports out there, and I think it's because it's action-packed and it's fast-paced.
Yeah, good. Katinka, what would you not? Swimming is like this, don't touch that.
Yes, I I heard this question before, and I started thinking, and I was like, that's actually a pretty hard question. You have to think a lot about that because we always think about the changes first. Swimming has been a historic sport, and I definitely think that we cannot change the distance, we cannot change the strokes. I definitely think that it's going to be more valuable if we keep the distance, we keep the strokes, because the world records will be harder to break, and it will be a bigger prestige to break world records, for example. I think we have to look at track and field, and you know, if you're top 3 in track and field at the Olympics, you're a legend. And I think swimming will get to that point, and it will be really, really hard to break world records pretty soon in swimming as well.
Yep. And Peter, what would you say, don't touch that? This is one of the reasons why I chose this sport.
Well, you all know that our sport, as I mentioned before, we do our sport in the natural environment, just in the natural lakes, rivers, oceans. And that's the things I think we don't have to touch and don't have to change. We need to compete in the nature. And I think that the wind, the water temperature still have to be a factor of the results of our competitions. And I think I choose open water swimming just because I had the chance to be different place than the swimming pool and still to swim and compete. So I think we don't have to change the place where we race in the nature.
Yeah. And Orlando, you, as you said, high diving is the latest member of the family, and it's new and it's fresh and everything. But watch out, soon you'll get into the sports organizational world, and a lot of rules people will come and look into your sport and suggest to change something. What would you tell them? Don't touch that. What would that be?
You know, being a sport that involves acrobatics, there are certain technical elements that it is what makes it spectacular. What I enjoy the most about diving is that, you know, even like while I'm performing it is very exciting, but watching it makes it very exciting to me too. So I wouldn't want to touch those elements. It makes it exciting, it makes it beautiful to watch, and it also creates a standard for the judges to, you know, to have a judging point of view, a judging scale. I see that some sports that also involve acrobatics, for example, some skiing part, there is too much space open for freestyling, and to me it becomes a little bit of a gray area when you go that way, because you know, it's too much left out there to be changed to the opinion of the judges. While in diving and in high diving, we have a very strict set of rules, a very clear definition of the technical elements, and that should be kept that way. That way the judges know what they're judging, and the divers know what they have to prepare for, and you know, we're not improvising and trying to create our own things and freestyling it and letting that much in the hands of the judge. We should be able to respect those technical elements.
Well, that's an interesting point. And Britta, you mentioned that some of the things that your friends told you, you should adjust this or that in open water swimming, but what should they not adjust?
Well, I'm repeating again a little bit. I was saying before, you know, we have to make the courses more closer to the spectators, and a lot of races have been put to rowing courses, which is the challenge at the same time, because if we would always have our races in rowing courses, it's almost like swimming in a pool. So what we really have to keep is having our races in all those different waters we can swim in, which is, you know, rivers and oceans and lakes and rowing basins, and fight, you know, what we have, which is a big part of the sport, with currents and waves and winds. So this is definitely something we should not change, and it's a challenge at the same time, you know, because of course it's more difficult in the ocean to put the course close to the spectators than in a rowing basin. And what I also think is very important is the distances. We have the 10K included in the Olympic program, and of course it's the most important distance we have, but I definitely think we should still keep the races of 25K and more, because our sport started with this extreme distances, and they are like the heart of our sport, and they also make the 10K more valuable. So we have to stick to the long races as well, even if with the 10K included in the Olympic program, it lost a little bit of its value to those long races.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions at this stage already from the audience that you are waiting to? Yes, we have here already, yep, to either the entire panel or one of them. And please, go ahead.
I have a question for Orlando. I'd like him to tell us what becoming part of Fina means to his sport.
Good question. What does this mean on the pros and the cons side?
You know, for a long time, I think the sport was viewed as like a show only. Of course, part of my background is that too. I perform at different shows all around the world, and people saw it as a you know, like just a group of crazy guys jumping from very high places into tiny pools and somehow surviving. You know, what they didn't know is that we knew exactly what we were doing. Eventually, it grows into you know, a competition where now we can just measure our skills, and that's when Fina basically, you know, notices this sport. You know, this is not anymore that you know, that group on the side, and you know, for us is great because it kind of legitimizes the sport. It makes it. You know, I grew up watching the Olympics, the World Championships. You know, watching a swimming race, a final, and see somebody win by 0.01, and you know, a water polo game. You know, we wanted to be part of that, and then eventually making it there. It's you know, it's a great milestone for us to you know, to get there. We still have some work to do because we have a few more steps to climb. Our final goal will be to be included in the Olympics, but that's made it great for us.
Thank you. Yeah. Another question at this stage? Yeah, we have over there. Great.
Yes, thank you for coming here and to share some experiences. We really appreciate that. My question is, especially for Brenda, what kind of advice would you give to a new federation that intends to have or to start with water polo?
I would say that you need to make sure that they're all great swimmers. I think that's one thing that we all have in common. You start swimming first before you get into any of these sports, and I think swimming is a life skill that we all can learn. I think any new federations, feel free to reach out to other federations. I think we're in a team culture, so I know the U.S. likes to share some of the best practices that we have, so feel free to reach out to any of us. I know that now the world has become so small with technology that it's easy to get videos out to you guys. I know as the USA national team, we've put on a lot of videos that we put on the web and we like to share. So reach out. I think the more water polo nations there are, the better it is for everyone. We all win.
I'm sure we have more questions. Just a quick round here. I was thinking, while we were sitting here, now we have high diving coming into the family, and it's very exciting. Maybe some of the other guys are a bit jealous. And now we have another sport, kind of competitor to our other disciplines. What if we decide not to look at each other as competitors, but can we create some synergy between the different aquatics principles, disciplines? Like, could we, I'm outside aquatics, could we have synchronized swimming in the halftime break of the water polo or whatever? Let's have a quick round. Britta, what do you think? Could you have swimming and then open water swimming the same day or something so that we kind of link it together?
Well, especially with the high diving and open water swimming, they match each other perfectly. You know, we have in Barcelona with the first World Championships, the high diving had the same venue like we had, and of course, I mean, they jump in the nature, no, they dive, and we swim in the nature. So of course, we can do that together, and both sides win of it, no. And I think it's the same with swimming and water polo, synchronized swimming. I mean, of course, you know, we always have the championships, and you have like the campus and everything together, and it would be a pity to have it separated. And this, you know, having high diving included in the Fina could never be a competition, but a win for everybody.
That's a good idea. Orlando, you see some ways of where the various disciplines can support each other?
I think they're already doing it. You know, that's the main reason why Fina, or let's say the aquatic sports, and are in that Group A in the Olympic program. You know, because they're already supporting each other. There's so much variety that you can enjoy all of them. I mean, it would be great to combine them all in the same day in the same facility, but that would be a little bit difficult. But they are working together already. You know, there are some sports that complement each other. Like all our talent comes from diving. You know, without diving, we don't have high divers. You know, we all. That was our first step. So I think it's happening already. It's, you know, it could get closer, but as I say, to combine it in one location in one day, it makes it difficult. But working together is what brought aquatic sports to that top level in the Olympic program.
Peter?
Well, our discipline is based on all the swimmers which are taking part in our discipline is ex-pool swimmers from 800, 1500, which means that we combine perfectly with the pool disciplines. And of course, we start using the new technologies used just because they were inventing in the swimming pools. And I think that the open water swimming cooperating really well with the pool discipline and the pool swimmers as well. And of course, as Britta mentioned, we share the venue with the high diving, which means that the whole new technology, the whole way how the high diving present their sports to the audience, we can trying to do similar to the audience which are interested to our discipline. And I believe that we can help each other a lot.
Katinka, like Hungary is very strong in swimming with yourself and others, and world-class level in water polo. How do we create some synergy there?
I know at the beginning you told me that we should probably disagree, it would be interesting, but I think in this case it would be really hard to disagree, because I really have to agree that, you know, all the disciplines working together, what really Fina is doing right now with the aquatic family, you know, we can market all the disciplines at the same time, and we can reach out to a lot more people, because there will be some people interested in diving, and then they're gonna watch high diving and diving, and then swimming, they probably watch the two open water and swimming pool, and then water polo. So I definitely think that making World Championships as a big event, such as the Olympics, that would be great to, you know, get up there, to get pretty close to making a whole event, not just, oh, this is swimming World Championships. No, it's World Championships of the Aquatics, and it's a huge event.
Yeah.
And
for water polo?
I think that there's a lot of already synergy between swimming and water polo. I think there needs to be more. At least in the US, there's always a battle of fighting for the athletes. Who's going to be a swimmer, who's going to be a water polo player, and sometimes you have coaches that don't allow swimmers to play water polo. So I think we need to find a way to help each other more. I also think that in colleges already we have some of the water polo girls doing synchro routines at the halftime of men's water polo games, and I know that it's a great hit, and we're not even real synchronized swimmers. So I do think that you have a great point, and we could incorporate the college teams to come out and perform, and I think it just creates a bigger, better environment at Aquatics. The more we can help each other, the more we could have more people in the stands. It shows that we are a great sport and a great environment.
Great, thanks. Yeah, more questions or some good ideas? We have a gentleman in the red shirt here, and then it's here. Maybe we start here first, and then second here. Yeah, please.
The question for Petar, because I know him from many years. I organize a lot of competition, and Britta and Petar, they coming to swim in Egypt or Dubai. But we have one secret in open water. All the open water swimmer before and after secret with Petar, because he swam in Canada, 2 races, best races in Canada, championship, and he won all. Like he swam World Cup, he won Magog and Lake St. John, and after this, when he go to another competition, maybe he don't win, but he don't miss any competition of this. I don't know what the secret he can tell us, because this is a secret all the open water swimmer or organizer or federation they ask for. Thank you.
That's for you.
Thank you, Ayman. Actually, those 2 competitions in Canada, they were fundamental for our discipline, and many years ago when they start, like over 50 years ago, that was the beginning probably of the series of our sport, which was not under Fina in that time. And that was very traditional competition, and it was a really important competition for our sport, because I'm still believing that because of the good success of these long races, we became part of Fina, and after that slowly we became part of the Olympic program. And I can't define exactly the question why, probably because I wanted to just win. This is inside me, and I succeed maybe because I was the best prepared at that moment. But I missed a lot of victories as well, but that's sport, so you can win always. But the good thing is that these big races help our sport to be part of the Olympic program, which was our target. And I will never forget at the end of 2005 when I just understood that the next time we're going to be part of the Olympic Games, and then my dream became true, and I keep on working harder and harder. So that's why probably. Thank you.
Excellent. We had the gentleman in the red shirt here. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a question to Britta. I'm sorry, it's a hard question. Which kind of suggestion you can give to a female pool swimmer to start to compete in open water competition?
Well, if you're a sprinter and you swim 50 meters, maybe you should stay in the pool. But you know, if it's a long distance swimmer swimming 400, 800 meters in the pool, 1500, it's the same training like we do in open water. There's not so much difference, and today there are a lot of swimmers doing both, no, open water and pool. So I would direct to those swimmers, first of all, always, you know, to try open water, because it's of course a very, very different sport to pool swimming. The training is not very different, but the competitions are. And to me, I never wanted to change back to the pool. What makes open water swimming so special is that you are swimming in the nature. You don't fight the nature, but you try to be friends with nature. You know, with wind, with waves, of course, with the other competitors, and it gives you a lot to swim in open water and to fight your own limits you have in the long races, especially. but also at a 10K race. Now it's a 2 hours race, so you go through a lot of stages during those 10K, which you probably don't get to when you swim only 1500. And I think that, and it's proof that a lot of long distance swimmers from the pool, when they try and go into open water and do just one race, they really stick to it and love it and want to do more of it. And it's not only the competition, but all around the competition. There are so many races which have a long tradition in the countries, and you have a lot of spectators with you. You have a lot of presentations before the races, after the races. You are just so much closer to the people of the countries you go. You don't see only the hotel and the swimming pool, but you have, you don't have only the nature, but as well the culture of the country. So it makes it worth to swim a little bit longer.
Interesting. Another question ready? Maybe just you want to disagree?
No.
You want to attract people from open water into the pool, or? Yeah. Many sports have changed. Not the sport, but they have changed in the way where they practice it. They're kind of moving to another environment, and it helped them a lot. Like you see Formula One moving from a racetrack outside the city in the city center, like in Monaco or Singapore in the night. You see beach volleyball not being playing on the beach, but they take the sand into the city center and they play there. You see Nordic skiing being performed in the city center where they put the snow in there. Is that something for some of our disciplines? Like, could we have high diving in one of the hotels here with a very high ceiling? Or could we have swimming, regular swimming at the beach level? Is changing the environment something we should think about? Yeah?
I think it could be interesting, for sure. I was here actually for a presentation about brand value, and I was listening to talking about the Myrta pools, that one of the times they put the pool right on the beach. So going back to the same point about marketing, maybe we could, get closer and, have the swimming pool right on the beach, and then have the open water in the beach, and then hopefully we can find a cliff somewhere around, and then we can have that done as well.
I was fortunate enough to be a part of the first Fina World League, and I remember there was a temporary pool put in downtown Long Beach, and it was probably one of the best venues I've ever played in. When it's a temporary pool, you have a lot of stands that you probably wouldn't need on a regular basis, but it allows you to bring in more spectators. There were sweet boxes where people were giving beverages and drinks and food, and it just made it a bigger event. So I think the more we can do that and bring in temporary pools and stands and bring in more fans and make the experience better and more engaging, I think it's going to help any of the sports. And I think you can do that with any of the disciplines, or maybe not open water, but we've got to get creative with your sport.
Peter?
Actually, to be extreme, this is the part of our discipline, and we are always out of the swimming pool, and we race in many dangerous places, let's say, for the people which don't really know. Actually, it's very safe, but when you say someone that we race in Amazonka River or in River Nile and any other places, the people scare, but actually there is nothing dangerous there, but just sounds with the name. And I think we are ready to explore, and our discipline grows, and we are racing everywhere where is safe for our athletes, and we race everywhere where is just to promote our sport to the different countries. And with racing, we want to make the younger generation be involved in our sport. The same as me and Britta a long time ago decided to be part of the open water family. And I think, as I mentioned before, to be part of the nature, to race in the nature, it's different than the pool. And once you do these kind of competitions, you like it and you want to be back and back again. And I'm believing that in the future, the number of the swimmers which are doing open water will rise. And the good things in our discipline is that we don't race against the world records. We just race against each other, and the one who is first at the end is the winner, which means that we don't fight much with the new technology suits, and we're still using those suits. And I think that it's a good place where we can bring the business in the sport. We can use this space for commercials, and we can have a good TV coverage, so we can be more on the TV. And why not one day to have probably, let's say, an application for the mobile device where we can follow all the Fina events, all the Fina discipline, and you can fast and see the results and be updated right away. And that will make definitely attract the attention of the people much more, and I'm sure the number of the participants will rise.
Orlando, can we do high diving indoor? Or middle diving?
I like to say that I see the world with different eyes. You know, when I walk outside and I'm crossing a bridge, I'm not looking to the other side of the bridge. I'm looking down to see how high it is. And if it's not high enough, I'm looking at the light post to see if I can stand on it and jump. That's kind of like the versatility of my sport, which it makes it, I mean, great for me. Red Bull, who I've had a partnership already for like 16 years, they recognized that a long time ago. And we've been lucky enough to do high diving, cliff diving for many different places. You know, that all we need is high place, deep water, and we're good to go. Or also, our rules allow for it, you know. For example, swimming and water polo and all the other disciplines it has to be very strict. You have to swim 50 meters. Our rules allow for a dive from 26 to 28 meters, because if we're outside in the sea and there is a swell rolling in, the height is going to change every 5 seconds, so we have to allow for that. And you have to come prepared for it too. So I think we're lucky on that part. Personally, I've done helicopter, bridges, balconies, windows, rooftops, trees in the Amazon.
Hotel windows?
Everything is very calculated, it's been very safe, but it's good to have that kind of flexibility. You know, it shows how spectacular the sport is. You can bring it to many people, and you know, in a way that has created great success for us. In part with the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, that we do an 8 event a year, and it's already in its 7th year, going into its 7th year. And it's been the same with Fina in World Championships and World Cup. We've been able to bring high diving to the people, like just put it right in their faces. We're right there. So, you know, for training, it's difficult because sometimes you need the perfect conditions, you know, the right height, the right depth. But at least you can do the dives. At least you can show them what the sport is all about.
Great. Britta, you mentioned that your friends told you they can't see you out there. And sometimes when you've been swimming your 25K out there, you must have been thinking, what if I was doing this somewhere else, in another kind of a venue? Then they could actually see me, I could feel them. Have you thought about where you could do the open water swimming in a different kind of venue so you were closer to the spectators?
Well, there are actually races which are like that. For example, there's always been, for a long time, not anymore, a race in Atlantic City, which is swim around the island, and you swim. The first part is in the ocean, but then the second part, which is like about another 4 hours, is in the back bay, and you swim like through the city and between the houses, and it's very close to all the people, which just have to go out on the balcony or the terrace. Also, the races in Argentina, which are in a river, it's not a very wide river, and spectators can be the whole course, which is 57 kilometers on the shore, and they actually are, or they are with us on the water in boats. So there are venues where we are really close. You just have to find them.
Yeah, thanks. Question, we have one ready here, and we have time for, I think, two, three more if you get ready. Yeah, please.
For the open water swimmers, a question. They have to swim in very often very different conditions from one occasion to another, and even different type of water. So fresh water or seawater, which can create certain difficulties. How do you prepare, and especially how do you adapt? Because swimming in a canoe river is one thing, not many waves, but if you swim in the ocean, you have other conditions that are going to hinder you. What is the preparation? What does it involve?
Well, when I started with the sport, I did prepare before the competitions. You just, you try to swim in the salt water. You go a few days before the competition, you go to the place where it will be. So we always have the opportunity to train on the course or part of the course. So that's what you do. You know, in a lake, it's not so difficult. Salt water definitely is different. But of course, with the years and all the experience you have doing a lot of competitions, you also get used to it, and you know how you feel in the different types of water. But as I said before, it's the preparation the days before the competition. Not only for the type of water, but also for the course and everything. You know, you have to have the orientation and see where you have to go.
Peter?
Well, this is really a matter of experience. We all practicing, we all training in the swimming pools, and once we move to the salt water, it's quite different. The salt water give you more buoyancy, of course. You stay easier on the top of the water, but on the other hand, you have a really bad taste in your mouth, and your tongue. It's absolutely in a really bad condition because of the salt of the water. You get a lot of scratches from the small salt crystals which is in the water from the millions, thousand strokes, let's say, you do with your arms. So the salt water, it's quite different, and but the fresh water, it's close to the swimming pool, so it's not much difference. And my advice is only the experience can help you to adapt to these different conditions.
Thanks. Any other questions ready at this stage? We have time for, I would say, two more. Yeah, one from you.
Thanks. Just again to the open water people. Don't you think that having competitions in rowing basin or very calm water takes something out of the epic of long distance open water swimming? Because in this way you lose all the difficulties that you overcome when you find jellyfishes, tides, waves, and many other things that make this sport quite different. I mean, the epic of open water, to me, is not so much into winning the race, but taking part to something that somebody else thinks is for crazy people, just like diving.
Well, by swimming in the rowing basin in the flat water, we may eliminate on the side the tides and the waves, but the difference between the open water and the pool, you still have your opponents next to your shoulder, and you not always can do your stroke perfectly, which means that even we are in the rowing basin, the difficulties and the toughness of the sport is still there. And the rowing basins allow us to be easy presented to the audience. The rowing basins allow us to be, of course, at at the Olympic Games because it's a venue which is well covered and the people can see us. But on the other hand, we still have a Grand Prix series, which is events above 10K kilometers, above 15 kilometers. And we still have these long swims in the rivers and oceans. So we have many possibilities to do open water. And I think Roman Basins is just one of these possibilities, and it's just part of the game. But be aware that to swim in the rowing basins, it's not easy because the speed is much higher and the body contact is still existing, and some turns it's really difficult to be done. You know, everyone wants to turn first, but the space is not enough for all of us. And there's still the spirit of open water is there.
You want to add something, Britta?
The thing is, our sport is still a young sport, and it's developing a lot. And to have been included in the Olympic program has been a big step for us, and is something we needed, you know, to continue with the sport, to have a future in the sport. And I think it's just there's a difference between the 10K, which are included in the Olympic program, and the longer races. And it's not so much fun to swim a 25K race in a rowing basin. We do it, but it's not the funniest thing. But for the 10K, it's even more perfect, the course, because as I said, it's a different discipline. The 10K is more about really competing between the swimmers, and it's about the speed, who's really the fastest. There are bigger pegs. It's what Peter said, more the fight between the swimmers, and the long races are more the fight with yourself, and therefore it's nicer to have them, as you said, in the ocean or a river or lake with different conditions, because as I said before, that's the heart of open water swimming. That's how we started the sport, and we should definitely not lose it. You are totally right with it.
I noticed one of the questions mentioned high diving is there, and don't get it wrong, Orlando, like the craziness about it. Definitely the risks, the wild thing about diving there. Could high diving being the latest member of the family, could some of the other disciplines learn something or use something of that craziness into the more established, maybe less crazy disciplines that we also have in aquatics?
I mean, I wouldn't know what to tell you because I'm not very good at any of the other disciplines. To me, they're all crazy, you know. I couldn't stand probably a couple of minutes playing water polo, you know. I've seen what happens on the water, you know. If I swim a little bit for training, a couple hundred meters is more than enough, you know, so I couldn't do that. It's a different level, you know, it's a different thing. It's you know, high diving, it may seem crazy to us, it's just a normal thing, you know. It's just what we do, it's what we learn how to do. We work on it, you know, we do it right. It's the same thing with the other disciplines. To us, it's just great to, let's say, be that new thing, you know. It's just, I think it's going to be a complement of an already great package, and you know, it's just to make good things continue to happen as it's been happening in the past.
That's great. We have time for one last question. If there's someone of you want to ask something to the panelist or to one of them. If not, I would say that first of all, I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules, either with your active career right now or your post-career. It was mentioned by one of you that, as you probably all know, that aquatics have now been moved to the A group of Olympic sports, means the top sports, where formerly was only athletics, track and field. They were in a special group. Now Aquatics is also there. And I think this is really, not at least thanks to athletes like yourself, representing different disciplines, that this has been made possible. So I think we should give them a big applause, all our stars here.